Hey ladies, thanks for joining me today. If you're new to my channel, my name is Mitzi and I'm a paper girlie, and if you're a returner, welcome back. Okay gals, today we are talking about redefining happiness. And this is the last week, so we are all about moving forward this week, moving forward into the future of different topics about what we're going to focus on in order to become the women that we want to be in the future. Okay, so first things first, let's get a definition of what I mean by redefining happiness. I got it written down. So redefining happiness means shifting your focus from external achievements like wealth or status to internal well-being, such as gratitude, presence, and purpose. It is the transition from constantly striving for temporary pleasure to cultivating lasting, authentic fulfillment on your own terms. So the quote that I want to start today off with is by Melinda Gates. Now, obviously, because I live in Seattle, I know who Melinda Gates is, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that most people around the world knows who Melinda Gates is. And honestly, goodness, I'm thinking, I don't even know if she is actually still Gates since she went through her divorce. But that's neither here nor there. When she said this, her name was Melinda Gates. And well, this is a quote that I thought was really fitting for the topic of redefining happiness, especially me coming to you, my community of women of a certain age that are looking toward redefining happiness. So this is the quote. She says, "The pursuit of happiness is not a solo endeavor, but a collective journey of lifting each other up and creating shared joy." And ladies, I could not agree more, because one thing that I have discovered over the years, actually I learned it from my friend Isa, who she was the topic of, I think, the very first video of this series, is that as we get older, our sense of joy is not just, our own joy, but the joy of the people that we care around us. If they are happy, it really makes me happy. And if they are excited about something, then it makes me excited about the same thing. Not necessarily specifically what they're excited about, but just excited for them in their excitement of whatever that is. So that is the quote that we are going to use to start out this conversation about redefining happiness. So let's get right to the prompts. So the journal prompts, again, I have a few of them. And the first one is, what brought you consistent, effortless happiness when you were a child? And how can you translate the essence of that feeling into your life now? So that's the first one. That's kind of reflecting on the past, but bringing it forward. And then the second one is about letting go. And it is, what societal, cultural, or familiar expectation of a happy life are you ready to release? I mean, I think we all grew up with the idea of what happiness meant, what happiness would be, what success, in the concept of happiness looked like. And you know what? How has that changed over your life? How has that changed to now what you really think happiness should entail? And then the next one is kind of piggybacking off of that, about redefining what it means as success. So the question here is, how would you define a successful and happy day if it had nothing to do with money, status, or external achievements? So that's question number 3. And then the last prompt is about redefining happiness through priceless moments. So the question here is, name 3 seemingly insignificant moments from this past week that made you smile or feel content, and how can you design your days to invite more of these quiet moments? So those are the prompts. We had the quote, and if that's all you wanted, that's all you needed, then we will see you tomorrow. I hope that we will see you tomorrow. For the rest of you gals, it is story time. And do I have a story about this? Not really, but I do have some thoughts. I do have some thoughts that I would like to share with you, that I learned through a book that I read, and I know that some of you gals already own this book, but I just want to talk about the things that I learned in this book. Okay, so here we go. Okay, girls, so this is the book. This is the book, The Happiness Recipe. And I have actually talked about this multiple times here on my channel. And it is by Rebecca Morrison. And oh my gosh, I just, again, really, really love this book. And yes, I get it. Rebecca Morrison might not be for everybody. She might not be from everybody. However, like all books, if you take the time to read it, sometimes you'll pick up, a little here, a little there, something that speaks to you. And so I write down in my commonplace journal tons and tons of quotes, tons and tons of information from this book. Because ladies, this last year, this last 6 months, I have just really been focusing on my desire to find lasting, true happiness in my life. If you've been on this whole journey of this girlfriend's guide to journaling, then you know that I have struggled. I have struggled trying to find happiness. And goodness, all I want is happiness in my life. That is all that I'm wanting now, because goodness, I deserve it. I deserve happiness, just like you deserve happiness. So it has been my goal to figure it out, to try and finally figure out what happiness means to me, to redefine it for myself so that I can live in it just every single day. So in this book, ladies, Rebecca Morrison goes over a whole lot of things, but there are 4 basic core principles that she writes about in this book. So I just wanted to share those 4 core principles with you today. So the first one is identifying what truly matters to you, meaning what truly matters to you. Not what you think should matter to you or what other people think should matter to you, but actually what truly matters to you. Because when you actually take the time to really reflect on that and really be honest with yourself about it, then, a lot is taken off the table. Right there, a lot is taken off the table. Because when I did that, I realized that, oh my gosh, there really isn't that much that is really, truly important to me. There are just a handful of things that actually, if I had to, pick and choose and make up a menu that I could only have 5 things, that would be pretty easy for me to do. That would be pretty easy for me to do, to pick out 5 things that truly matter to me. And then the second thing that she focuses on is cultivating supportive beliefs and emotional tools. And that is basically just fancy words for shifting from the negative to the positive. Meaning, instead of feeling helpless, in that feeling of helplessness, you start learning how to shift toward feeling empowered. Instead of feeling like a victim, you have self-compassion for yourself. And then also, you're just ready to grow. If you are ready to grow, this book, I think, would just be fantastic, because I know that I went out and intentionally got this book because I was to the point where I said, you know what, everything else is kind of falling into line. I know that life doesn't work that way. Shit's gonna, start piling down on me soon enough. And it did. And so I wanted to focus on happiness, on figuring out my happiness, because I knew that, well, we all know what has been occurring in my life a little bit outside of, my YouTube-averse here. I knew that things were going to come falling down, and that in order for me to really be able to weather the storm of these a little bit, not so fun Well, I mean, not so fun, not fun at all. Situations that are arising in my life, just because life is lifing, that I need to just really get an armor of happiness on myself. So that's why I really went out looking for this book, looking for growth in myself. Okay. Then the next thing is taking action to live in alignment with your priorities. So girls, I mean, like I say, best intentions is best intentions, but it does not get you points. It does not get you points unless you actually do something, unless you actually take the step out of your comfort zone to actually try to accomplish what your intention is or was. So that is why with this book, I started this book at the same time that I started my, my traveler's journal, my commonplace book. And I did that in tandem intentionally to align up the two priorities of me wanting to grow, and then taking notes on that growth. And goodness, that commonplace book is really what was the jumping off point for my channel. So, I mean, happy times, happy times. Was it meant to be? I'm going to say that it was meant to be. That I was supposed to be at a place in my life, under the circumstances that I was, for all of that to just line up together. And then the last thing of these core principles that she talks about in this book is practicing mindfulness and pursuing passions. Because a lot of happiness actually is about you choosing it. You choosing to be happy. You choosing to do things that you're passionate about that increases your happiness. So girls, I just wanted to share those 4 principles with you. Things that I am learning. I am still, in this book, marking it away, slowly but surely working through it. A lot of times I will just pick it up, read a section, mark it down, and come back to it. Come back to it on days where, gosh, I might be struggling with happiness, and I'll just come back to it as a reminder that, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I am working on having compassion for myself while I work on it. But ultimately, it is just making a conscious choice to say, you know what? I want happiness. I deserve happiness. I'm going to redefine happiness in a way that I can reach out and grab it just at a moment's notice. So girls, that is what I have to say about redefining happiness today. So let's get back to those prompts so that we can get to our final quote and then just skedaddle and get on our way. I think that it is Monday. Well, it is Monday when this drops, and I will just be getting back from my little out-of-town getaway. And I don't know about you, but after a long weekend, I am tired. So let's get this wrapped up so we can all go take a little happiness nap. Okay, so again, back to the journal prompts. The first one is, what brought you consistent, effortless happiness when you were a child, and how can you transform the essence of that feeling into your life today? The second one is about letting go. What societal, cultural, or familial expectation of a happy life are you ready to let go, to release? The third one is about redefining success. Success in the idea of happiness. How would you define a successful and happy day if it had nothing to do with money, status, or external achievements? And then the last one is around priceless moments. Name 3 seemingly insignificant moments from this past week that made you smile or feel content. And how can you design your days to invite more of these quiet moments? So those are the prompts. So I want to finish with 2 quotes, one by Rebecca Morrison and then one by another one of my favorites, Brene Brown. So Brene Brown says this, and I think this is amazing. Happiness is the radical acceptance of imperfection and the celebration of authenticity. I think that is amazing because at the end of the day, that is what I'm looking for. I'm wanting to accept myself as I am, be authentic as I can be, and be happy in that space. And then the next one, the last one, we're going to close it out with Rebecca Morrison. And she says, well, it's real simple. It's real simple and I love it. Do more of what matters to you most and let go of the rest. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how, easy peasy, easy breezy life would be if you were able to just do what matters most to you and let go of the rest? Okay, gals, thanks for joining me today. Until next time, from one paper girlie to another, bye.